Call the meeting to order. It's 9 a.m. on Wednesday, July 2nd. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you. Roll call, please. Carol Sue.
Chris Armstrong.
Here.
Ron Miller.
Present.
Mayor Franklin.
Here. Approval of minutes, June 25th, 2014 meeting.
I reviewed them. I'd make a motion we approve as presented the minutes from the June 25th, 2014 meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of claims in the amount of $419,514.64.
I reviewed the claims. I make a motion we approve them as presented in the amount of $419,514.64.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Approval of licenses. We have two for consideration today. Chris Hallam and Robert Quillen, both electrical license. Everything appears to be in order. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion we approve the licenses as requested for Mr. Howland and Mr. Quillen.
I would second that motion. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Under changes to the agenda, members of the Public Works and Safety Committee, I would request that we place on the agenda consideration of awarding a contract for purchase of supplies and labor for painting of the annex building formerly known as the Salvation Army building. I'd ask that we place that on the agenda at the end of new business.
Do you need a motion?
I think we'll make it formal, yes.
I'll make a motion that we add the painting of the annex building to the agenda under new business.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. So we will add that at the bottom. Annex building. And are there any visitor comments? Hearing none. Old business, code enforcement officer.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Under old business, we've got 1401 Astor Street. I would ask for another 2 weeks on that. They have made some progress. They still have a long ways to go, but they're both disabled and they're working on it as best they can.
I have noticed that as well, and you can see the progress that they're making. So I would make the motion that we grant another 2-week extension regarding the property at 1401 Astor Street.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there anybody here representing 1401 Astor? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Next one, 109 West Ottawa.
I'm going to, it's kind of questionable, but I'm going to go ahead and call that one satisfactory.
Okay. Make the motion that we approve or at this point stop any further proceedings regarding 109 West Ottawa Street.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Thank you. Under new business, we have for consideration approval of a contract for John Molitor. I could speak to that. John has been special counsel to the city and to LMU on many matters, mostly surrounding development of the new power plant and public access laws, requests to records that we've had to deal with. And this approval of this contract is a formality. It's really been in place since 2012, but State Board of Accounts requests that we take action and formally recognize this in a more public setting, and Board of Works and Safety is the agency that would review and consider approving that contract. So I would make a motion that we approve the contract that's been in place with John R. Molitor, attorney at law, since December 17, 2012.
Second.
Been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Next, I will ask Community Development Director Chris Armstrong to speak to the next request.
The Bridge Community Church at 301 East Linden Avenue would like to hold an outdoor event July 18th from 5 to 8:30, and they will have music at this event, so they wanted to get our permission for that to take place.
I believe that the noise ordinance requires the music to cease by 9 p.m., is that correct?
I think so.
Yeah, I believe it is. So this is a special exception. Chief Clark, if you'll note that they did follow the proper procedure, and Board of Works, if we approve, is aware of their request, and that there should be a special exception to any music up until 8:30 p.m. as they're requested. So I would make the motion that we approve the request as presented by the Bridge Community Church to request an outdoor event to be held at 301 East Linden on July 18th between the hours of 5 and 8:30 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Is there anybody here representing the Bridge Church, the Bridge Community Church? Chief?
Is there any parking issues or street closures or anything involved with this?
No.
On private property?
Yeah, he said it would all be on private.
Okay.
No.
All right. Thank you.
No street closures involved.
Okay, thank you.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any further discussion or any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Next, we have a request from Jan Foley for on behalf of Logansport Parks Department for 4th of July festivities to be held at Riverside Park and the surrounding area. Jan is here if there's any questions. She did a very nice job making the presentation and explaining what would be taking place in the letter that's before you. Looks like it's going to be another good time, and I compliment you on the fireworks show. It truly is spectacular. I was in Chicago 2 or 3 years ago on 4th of July, and the show that was put on at Navy Pier doesn't compare with the show that we put on right here in Logansport. Is there any questions for Jan? I would make the motion that we approve the request by Jan Foley on behalf of the Logansport Parks Board for July 4th festivities at Riverside Park.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? It passes on a vote of 3-0. Thank you, Jan.
Mayor Franklin, I wanted to tell you that the auction that we had last Saturday, after expenses, we took in $5,677. I'll have a spreadsheet for you next week on that.
Thank you very much. Continuing under new business, we have a request for services for the purchase of supplies and labor for painting of the Logansport Annex building, formerly known as the Salvation Army building. I have Pam Lehman in the room with us today, and Pam has really spearheaded this. She's here if there are any questions. The bids that were received are contained in your packet, and if there's any questions, we'll certainly try to answer that through Pam. But the Logan's Landing downtown organization has agreed to fund half of the cost of painting the annex building up to $5,000. And just this week, the Logansport Redevelopment Commission also made a motion to approve the financing of the project up to 50% up to $5,000. The bids come in well, the total for all bids come in well under that. There was an option, and if I could get Pam to join us at the microphone and explain the options on the roof. I think that was the only thing that's not absolutely clear. And I would go ahead and convey that the Redevelopment Commission appropriated the money and left the final decision as to which action to take up to the Board of Works. So with Pam's recommendation, we can act on it after that. So Pam.
I'm assuming you want me to explain the different options regarding the paint.
Please.
We had 2 options on paint, supplies, or bids. We also had 2 options on the labor cost from Mike Albright and Matt Mullen. And there were 2 options before the redevelopment committee. One was to repaint the roof on the building based on the condition of the roof. It does require a more prep work and a little more cost. There was another option of possibly asphalting the roof. Our preference and our determination is that we paint the roof. It's going to look much better. Hopefully we'll have a longer life possibly than the asphalt. There is a question because of the condition of it, but it's certainly much more it's much more economical for us to repaint the roof, repaint the building, than it is to put a new roof on at this point in time. So with that said, our bid cost turned out with using Aroni Hardware for the materials and Mike Albright for the paint would be $5,419.76, and Logan's Landing is willing to pay half of that, and the Redevelopment Commission half, so that would be $2,709.88 each. So it's considerably under what both organizations were willing to give us. Each organization gave us $5,000 up to $5,000. So we could have had a total of 10 for the project. It's going to be right at close to half of that. So we're just requesting that you give us approval to go ahead with that. Mike Albright can start on the work hopefully by the 3rd, 4th week of July. Any questions?
And I believe the Taste of Cass County is scheduled for August 9th.
Right.
August 9th at 5 to 1. And our hope was to have this outside improvement completed prior to that August 9th event. I'm happy to also say that the inside, the bathrooms are now ready to go, and the
Good.
inside is cleaned up
Well,
and looking good.
one of the things we want to do is with the back side of the building, we want to paint it all light gray so we have kind of a blank canvas, and then we're going to be putting art panels that are removable on that back side. So if down the road something happens, we sell the building or do something differently with it, we can remove those art murals and put them someplace else in the community. We're also planning to do landscaping all the way around that building, which all of that cost will actually be absorbed by Logan's Landing.
So I would make a motion that we approve an expense up to $5,000 to cover 50% of the materials and the labor to paint. I think paint is the only term that we would use.
It's really just to paint. I mean,
But-
when you talk about materials, that's usually
Right.
considered in the paint.
But I want to clarify that my motion is to paint the roof and not to put the asphalt
Right.
sealer on it.
Right.
So my motion would be to pay 50% of the cost up to $5,000 for painting and not the asphalt finish of the roof
Right.
at what is known as the Logansport Annex Building, formerly known as the Salvation Army Building, on the 400 block of 4th Street. 400 block of 4th Street downtown.
And I'll second that.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
None.
Any questions? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, passes on a vote of 3 to nothing. Okay, thank you, Pam, and thank you for everything that you've done on this. Again, this is another one of those projects that we wouldn't be this close to or wouldn't actually get across the finish line without your help and your spirit and going out there and making things happen. So thank you very much. Next is under reports, Building Commissioner. Hi, Bill.
I have to apologize. I did not prepare a report for today. I didn't realize this was the first Wednesday of the month until I
Time
walked
flies,
in.
doesn't it?
Yeah. So I will open myself up for questions if anybody has any questions. And I will follow up with a report next week.
I certainly understand that you have been busy on a number of different fronts and dealing with redevelopment commission issues, of which you also volunteer, several different things going on. So I'd make the motion that we request the building commissioner's report to be delayed 1 week and that you present it next week.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, passes on a vote of 3 to nothing. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Code Enforcement Officer.
Good morning again.
Morning.
My report has been submitted to you for your review and hopeful approval. Going through it, if you go to notice to appear today, 100 East Linden, I inadvertently put down the property owner's address instead of the address of the violation. The violation was actually 100 East Linden. That violation has been resolved.
Is that Ryan and Crystal Smith?
Yes.
Okay.
Next on the list is 231 East Miami. That one as well has been resolved. Next is a frequent flyer, Mickey Smith at 1320 Liberty Street. I'm going to ask for one more week on that one. So I would like to bring that one back next week.
Okay, I would make the motion that we approve the request to bring Mickey Smith back next week regarding the property at 1320 Liberty Street, and that the other two be marked as cleared. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, is there anybody here representing 1320 Liberty Street? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed? That passes on a vote of 3-0. Anything else with your report?
Yes. I had a complaint concerning 104 Western Avenue. Trash, evidently the occupant there lost the house to foreclosure, packed up, moved out of state, and basically took garbage, trash, everything that was in the house and just dumped it out. There were numerous trash bags just piled up out by the alley that animals had gotten into. It was rather, it was pretty bad. I would like to commend Dan and his team again. Chris went over, looked at it, made a phone call to Dan, and I think within an hour he was over there and had it all cleaned up. And that was accomplished under the section of the ordinance that permits an emergency cleanup.
Okay, looks good. Good work. Thank you, Dan.
I would like to also comment on this. Wabash Valley picked up 2 of their truckloads full of stuff before our city departments ever did anything with this, so it was a huge mess to begin with. That's it.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the Code Enforcement Officer's report as presented. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
None.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, passes on a vote of 3-0. Chief Clark's report is again in here. He was on vacation when it was due, and then last week it inadvertently was missed in the agenda, and we just told him to bring it back this week. So here he is.
Okay, that's my monthly report for May. If you notice, I had it separated, the animal control calls in there. We'll start proceeding that way monthly. I'll entertain any questions. We had a busier month during May, and several arrests, several more incidents reported.
Thank you for the note on animal control. It's interesting that the divide is about 2/3 city, 1/3 county, and I want to continue to track that. Can you give us a verbal report on how the motorcycle patrol is going?
Got many compliments on it. Actually had...
Only the people getting the tickets are the ones complaining?
Yeah, he has issued several citations as part of their job, but we've had requests from citizens wanting him to come to their neighborhood and, try and slow traffic down. There's a very nice article that was in the Ferris Tribune, got it out, and I appreciate that, but it's going over very well.
Yeah.
Getting a lot of compliments.
Any safety issues regarding the motorcycle?
No, sir.
Nothing.
He's been able to, nightly, he'll go down the trail system, and people are complimenting that, just feeling a little more safe.
Right.
Seeing police officers there. And we started the bike patrol, kicked that off, so they're going to be concentrating on the bikes, or on the parks and the trails, and we're getting compliments on that also, so.
Okay. Any questions for the chief of police?
No.
I make the motion that we approve the report dated June 11th, 2014.
Second.
It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes on a vote of 3-0. Okay. Are there any board member comments?
No.
Miscellaneous business including ADA Section 504 compliance and concerns or any other matters not already considered? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.